Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am not here with Geeky Sparkles, so you can just shut the video off right now. Right now. No, kidding. Actually, we're going to talk about Scott Pilgrim coming to Netflix, and Geeky does not like Scott Pilgrim. She said she has no interest in talking about Scott Pilgrim. She doesn't care, so we're going to talk about it. Netflix is going to get its fingers all over Scott Pilgrim. Scott Pilgrim is going to get fingered by Netflix. We're going to talk about that before we get into it any further. Please subscribe for more pop culture, news, views, and rants, guys. Over 250,000 subs. Thank you so much for the support. We talk about animation, we talk about anime, we talk about the comic book industry, and this is all of the above. Scott Pilgrim started out as an independent comic book, and then it became a live-action movie, and then it became a video game, and now it's going to become an anime, which actually does make sense because the original comic book is very influenced by anime and 90s video games and that sort of thing. So it makes sense. It makes sense. However, it's Netflix, so I don't know how this is going to go. It's interesting though because Scott Pilgrim has sort of seen a resurgence in popularity over the last couple of years because of this song, Scott Pilgrim versus the World Ruined a Whole Generation of Women. Yeah, Ramona Flowers being blamed for ruining an entire generation of women. And weirdly enough, as I understand it, Ramona Flowers was based on Hope Larson, and Brian Lee O'Malley and Hope Larson actually got divorced. So I don't know what that says. I don't know if that means anything, but we're going to talk about this. Now I got to give a hat tip to Sarah out at Derezzed, which is actually our pop culture blog. We do have blog articles out there. If you go to d-rezzed.com, she put this up yesterday, and it came from the Hollywood Reporter originally. But let's talk about it, because I actually did like the Scott Pilgrim movie. I did. I was one of the few people that watched it when it first came out. I liked it quite a bit, and I actually do like the video game, and I've got all of the comics in hardcover. That being said, a lot of people kind of point to Scott Pilgrim as being a watershed moment in comics when webcomics and Tumblr comics kind of became more mainstream. I always enjoyed it, though. Like I said, I've sunk plenty of money into Scott Pilgrim stuff, so I'm cautiously optimistic. But again, it is Netflix, so who the hell knows what we're going to get. They are doing it in reverse, though. We had a live-action version already, and now we're going to get an animated series. So Scott Pilgrim anime series being developed for Netflix. Netflix will be bringing back Scott Pilgrim as an anime series. The creator and artist of the graphic novels, Brian Lee O'Malley, will be writing and executive producing with Ben David Grabinski. Grabinski was the showrunner behind Are You Afraid of the Dark for Nickelodeon, because that totally goes with Scott Pilgrim. O'Malley and Grabinski will showrun the series if the project continues. If the project continues to move forward, what's going on here? Japanese animation studio Science Saru, located in Tokyo, will be providing the animation. The company's co-founder will be the producer. So that is promising. The director of the series will be Abel Gongora. Gongora began his work in animation as a location designer and later as an animator at Irish animation studio Cartoon Saloon. He moved into French animation, and the French actually do a lot of work with the Japanese, weirdly enough. So he's working alongside a team of Japanese artists after the studio closed. He was one of the first 5 staffers at Science Saru. Given how much influence manga and anime had on the creation of his graphic novel series, it feels rather fitting to have a production company in Japan doing the animation. I agree. Scott Pilgrim was a love letter to the 90s. If you were a teenager in the 90s, I think actually I'm pretty sure I'm the same age as Brian Lee O'Malley. I was out there checking. We're in the same demographic here. So yeah, I mean, you can see the influence, definitely of growing up in the 80s and 90s, and especially the live action movie with all the callbacks to, 16-bit video games and all that. Scott Pilgrim centers on the main character as a slacker living in Toronto, a garage band called Sex Babam. With his friends, his life is turned upside down when he meets Ramona Flowers. Worst girl ever. She ruined an entire generation of women. She did. American girl who's recently single. yada yada. But before their love can blossom, Pilgrim finds himself challenged by his love's 7 previous relationships. 6 volumes were published by Oni Press. Yeah, and Oni Press, they were riding high on Scott Pilgrim money for years. I mean, re-release after re-release. Like I said, I finally bought the whole series, and Geeky Sparkles helped me, but got the whole series in hardback in full color, which I think is the best way to enjoy the series. But they were riding high on Scott Pilgrim money for years, and then recently, like 2 years ago, Oni Press had to merge with Lionforge just to survive. They haven't had a hit on par with Scott Pilgrim in a very long time. But again, when Scott Pilgrim was greenlit, it was a totally, totally different era. So the graphic novels became indie comic hits and also a publishing phenomenon that broke into the mainstream, selling millions of copies. It did. The 2010 movie bombed at the box office. I think it did like $15 million opening weekend, and they promoted the hell out of it. Gained a cult following. Yes, we have it on Blu-ray. I think we have it on Blu-ray. And it had Brie Larson in it, which is so weird because I forgot she was even in it. I did. But yeah, Brie Larson is in it, and she's tolerable in that movie. She's actually tolerable in Kong, too. I don't know what the hell happened with Captain Marvel. But, this is not the first time that Scott Pilgrim has been animated. They did Scott Pilgrim animations for Adult Swim, kind of a prequel. So this might be sort of, kind of what we're going to see on Netflix. If that's the case, I'm hoping it's better than this. Not to throw shade at the animators, but this was Flash animation, and I'm hoping that this Japanese animation studio does right by it. The comics are good. I think the comics are good. People can fight me on that. I don't care. I think the comics were pretty good. What came after Scott Pilgrim, though, I think where they were aping the Scott Pilgrim look, but they didn't have the substance. That kind of ushered in the Tumblr era, I think, of comics. But here we have the original article out on the Hollywood Reporter. Netflix and UCP, the division of Universal Studio Group behind the Umbrella Academy and Chucky, are developing the brand new adaptation. Again, it's kind of weird. I think the guy that's Are You Afraid of the Dark is running it, but it seems to me like they're getting a green light to develop it, but they haven't actually committed to picking the series up. So that's one thing I've noticed, especially with these trade publications, with like a Hollywood Reporter and Variety and stuff, is they always announce these deals, and then if you go check back like 3 or 4 years, you will see a whole bunch of stuff that never actually happened. Here they said the two will show run the series should it move forward with Anime House Science Saru on tap to provide the animation work. So this kind of happened with, speaking of comics and graphic novels and all that, I remember Amulet. It was Kazuo Kibishi's Amulet, which is kind of a peer comic, I guess, to Scott Pilgrim. They both came out about the same time, back when there was a huge boom in manga and, graphic novels in the 2000s, which, of course, the bubble burst in the late 2000s. Hopefully that doesn't happen again, but, who knows? People get greedy. It might. But, I remember, Amulet, they had like 3 or 4 attempts to get movies of Amulet made. I don't know where it is right now. At one point, like Will Smith was going to do it. And they always announce like, hey, this got optioned. I mean, shit, we had stuff optioned and nothing happened. And that's the thing. It's like, it don't mean nothing, till the check clears. And even then they can get into production and pull the plug. I mean, a couple of high profile comic book projects I can think of that recently got the axe, Nimona, Noelle Stevenson's Nimona. And also Lumberjanes, I guess, never got off the ground. Nimona, they were 75% done with it, and they pulled the plug on it. Disney pulled the plug on it. Also, Mouse Guard, very well-received, popular graphic novel series. The pre-production work for the movie looked very, very good. Made a big announcement about it being a movie, and they were pretty far into it, and Disney bought Fox and shut it down. We had this happen a couple times with, I think the one was, I want to say Delilah Dirk, I think, got optioned by Disney. And it was kind of a female Indiana Jones. And that was another one. They made a big deal. Hey, we got the option. We got the green light. We're going to do da-da-da. And the creators out there on Twitter, oh my God, guys, I got optioned. And then nothing happened. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of par for the course. Like, I can tell you these studios option and plan far, far more projects than actually get made. So they're not saying it's definitely going to happen. It might be that they put a test reel together, they put a pilot together, and like, yeah, this doesn't work, or yeah, it's cool, but it's really niche and it's really expensive, and we don't want to go through with it. So don't count your chickens yet, but they are planning on a Scott Pilgrim anime series. Gonna wrap this one up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys, and we'll talk later.